Okay, we're back in session to finish the Board of Commissioners meeting. We had to take a break, go to lunch, and visit the Presidency Center. Ms. Marshall, I think we're going to see the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners video for April.
Yes, sir.
Hello and welcome to the April 2015 County Update video from the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. In today's video, we'll introduce you to the 2015 NCACC Annual Conference keynote speaker. We'll tell you about the NCACC's premier grassroots advocacy event, the 2015 County Assembly Day. We'll discuss National County Government Month, and we'll tell you how NCACC Risk Management is providing a higher level of services without an increase in rates for members around the state. So let's start with the 2015 annual conference. The keynote speaker at the conference hosts the Start With Why podcast that is downloaded in nearly 130 countries, and he is an international speaker and consultant. He believes that every person deserves to wake up inspired to go to work and to come home at the end of the day fulfilled by the work they do. David Mead works with leaders to help them create an environment where people show up to work because they want to, not because they have to. An environment in which people are inspired to contribute to something bigger than themselves. His presentation contains 5 principles that, when combined together, can bring an environment of engagement, innovation, and breakthrough. Mead will address attendees at the opening general session of conference on Friday, August 21st. Keep an eye out in County Lines, the association's news publication, and on www.ncacc.org for more announcements about the 2015 annual conference, including other speakers, educational sessions, and the conference theme, which will be announced soon. The NCACC will host its 2015 County Assembly Day on Wednesday, May 6, 2015, at the Quorum Center in Raleigh. County Assembly Day is an important part of the county advocacy efforts of the association. The event provides an opportunity for North Carolina county officials like you to meet with and hear from state legislative leaders and to meet with their state legislative representatives in Raleigh. The event begins in the morning with a legislative update from the NCACC staff and remarks from leaders of the General Assembly. After lunch, attendees visit the North Carolina General Assembly to meet with members of their delegation to discuss specific county issues that are currently percolating in the legislature. County officials will be provided handouts and information about these issues that they can share with their legislative members. To encourage participation by elected officials, the association has waived the pre-registration fee for county commissioners who sign up before April 24th. All others must pay the pre-registration fee. After April 24th, county commissioners and staff must register on-site and pay the on-site registration fee. Online registration is available through the NCACC website by visiting www.ncacc.org/County Assembly Day. During the months of March and April, the NCACC is holding its yearly series of district meetings. This year there are 6 meetings held as far west as Jackson County and as far east as Onslow County. The meetings are designed to be both an update on advocacy issues for attendees and an opportunity for the NCACC to hear feedback from counties about meetings or interactions they've had with their own legislative delegation. Each year we publish a map like this one on our website highlighting which counties have planned and held meetings with their legislators. Each year we send out a packet of meeting materials that highlight the key issues for counties. This year, as usual, we've had great participation from counties, but we always strive to improve and would love to see this entire map filled every year. Also remember, to stay on top of legislative issues affecting county government, you can subscribe to our legislative bulletin by visiting www.ncacc.org/legislative bulletin. Or you can watch our Made for Government television program, This Week at the General Assembly. Both are produced each week the General Assembly is in session. April is a busy time of year for counties, as it is for us here at the association. Let's not forget, though, that April is National County Government Month. It's the month each year where we spend a little extra effort to let the public know what county government does for its citizens. We'd love to know what your county is doing this year, so please send us any write-ups and photos of events you may be holding during the month of April to our communications staff at communications@ncacc.org. Finally, let's talk about risk management and the 2 projects they recently have completed. The Human Resources Legal Helpline came online for risk management pool members on January 1st of this year and provides limited access to attorneys with strong experience in employment law. The line comes at no additional cost to pool members. The second project, now up and running, is the development and rollout of a cyber liability risk control web portal for pool members. It provides access to sample cyber-related best practice policies and other related risk control tools such as contractual language for outside vendors providing IT service. More information on both of these new services is available by visiting the Risk Management tab at the NCACC website. The NCACC Governmental Risk Pools Board of Trustees met in March and reviewed the projections for the year, including membership participation levels. Based on those projections, the board decided there would be no increases in workers' compensation or property casualty base rates for the coming year. This marks the 4th consecutive year both risk pools have been able to avoid an increase in rates, while maintaining a 100% county membership retention. Both risk pools have grown by 1 or 2 new county members each year, with steady, continued financial growth, generating currently the best financial position for both pools in over a decade. Well, that's all we have for this month's report. If you would like to get more information on any of the items we discussed here, please visit www.ncacc.org. Or you can email us at communications@ncacc.org.
Yes, sir.
Number 5,
Okay.
Mr. Wood.
Did we not do that one? The
No,
register
sir.
of deeds?
Registered deeds, no, sir.
Okay. What we have there is some savings from doing the shelving and the pages and the books for the Register of Deeds office. And so our recommendation to you is that you do that and save that money. And I'm trying to get to the page, it's 102, I believe. The savings over a 14-month period, because that's how long it takes to fill one of those shelves, is $13,420. On an annualized basis, it's a savings of $11,503. And so I'm recommending that you do this. She still has some shelving space and has bought some books, but once she uses those up, then we would discontinue this practice.
And in the long run, it's gonna actually save more than this because she's eventually gonna run out of room again.
That's right.
And so, it may not be under our watch, but at some point, this is gonna stretch out
The savings
the
there.
savings there.
That's right.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the recommendations of the Savings and the Register of Deeds Office.
Have a motion on the floor, any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, so show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Budget amendments.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Our first budget amendment, we have 3 for the sheriff, which is $398, $413, and $404. Number 398 is $23,720 to transfer funds from extra help to professional services legal for a contract attorney for the sheriff's office. Number 413, $6,466.40 to appropriate insurance funds received for the sheriff's department. And number 404, to appropriate concealed weapon and fingerprint fees, $8,820.
For Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve 398, 413, and 404.
Have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
I have one question. Is there any more details on number 398?
Yes. This was approved in the original budget for this year, but it was approved in the salaries, and it is being hired as a contract employee. So it was going into our contract. All we're doing is not increasing the budget. It is going from one line item to the other.
But the details of the services, I guess what I'm trying to ask.
I don't really have the details of what he's going to provide as an attorney.
Basically, what he wants is, and they're using his access to an attorney with the Sheriff's Association that deals with certain issues that are law enforcement related.
Before we vote on it, on Budget Amendment 404, the concealed weapon fees, $6,440. Just so y'all have a little idea on how many permits has been applied for. The fee for applying is $90. So, I mean, and we see big figures like this every year, so there's a lot of concealed weapon permits being applied for.
Right.
You mean every month?
Every month.
Every month.
Well, everybody walking around with a gun now,
Just
aren't
about,
they?
just about.
I better go get mine.
I already have.
I know, I thought you were gonna say, you mean to tell me you don't carry a gun?
No, get legal if you're going to. But I just thought it'd be, a little information for y'all. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Number 417 is for the Board of Elections, $12,000 to adjust line items to purchase 35 laptops for one stop in Election Day to replace existing laptops for which the operating system is no longer supported. This is moving from one line item to another.
Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion on the floor. We approve Budget Amendment 417. Any discussion?
Yes. Mr. County Manager, we're gonna see a lot of this where all of a sudden people are trying to use up their budget by shifting from one line item to another.
Well, you're not going to see a lot of it, but you'll see some of it.
Well, I mean, this is a good example of it, because you know
Yeah.
good and well she could put that into her next year's budget.
Well, she could, but in some ways, this helps keep the next year's budget low.
So you're okay with it?
Hopefully.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Have a motion on the floor. All in favor, Budget Amendment number 417, show sign of right hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Budget Amendment number 400 is for our health insurance, self-insured, to transfer contingency funds in the health insurance fund to the health insurance claims line item. In our original budget, we put $277,153 in the contingency line item, and we need it for our health insurance claims within the 14-15 years, so we're moving it up to the claims line item.
Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
A motion on the floor, we approve Budget Amendment number 400. Any discussion?
I'd just like to point out that in a normal year, we would be adding that much to our fund balance, but we're having a worse year than normal on our claims, and so we need to move this money over to the claims portion.
Is there a trend that's, it's just,
It's just added claims. We've met with the insurance people. It's not, I don't know that it's any particular trend. It's just a number of claims have been higher than normal. We've had more larger claims.
pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion on the floor, we approve. Oh, well, we already had a motion.
I'm sorry, that's what you did.
Okay. All in favor of Budget Amendment 400, show sign of right hand. Motion carries.
Number 402 is, and number 409 are for EMS. Number 402 is $5,858.29 to appropriate funds received from insurance claim. And 409 is $28,966.53 funds needed for a cardiac monitor and is decreasing in vehicle line item and increasing the equipment line item.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Darby.
Could I get a little explanation on that? Because now there's another example where you have an overage in vehicles, so we're actually using that in this year for a capital outlay of a cardiac monitor.
Right. We need to replace our cardiac monitors, and as you can see, each one of them is very expensive. So I'm trying to knock one of them out this year.
So how many do we generally have?
I think there's 10. We're gonna look at financing those in next year's
Why are
budget.
we replacing them?
They're at the end of their life cycle.
Well, when you say they're into their life cycle, they buy a laptop, you know, and, I mean, are they operational now?
They're still operational, yeah, they're still deployed right now. But there is a life cycle to them, and what they're looking at is replacing them, and you pretty much have to replace all of them at one time because our people have to be trained on them and that sort of thing. So what we're looking at is, I'm trying to get one of them out of the way now with current money.
What is the life cycle of one of these?
5 years.
You mean every 5 years, we've got a $300,000 expenditure?
Well, I think we're on year 7 and 8 on some of them right
Well, that's, see, so they've already extended from their life cycle, right?
Which is why we think we need to replace them.
Well, and some else you got to keep in mind too, the liability. If one of them fails and it's 8 years old and the life expectancy is 5 years,
Right.
an attorney's gonna have a field day with that one.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll look at it.
All I'm trying to do here.
I have a
is-
strong heart.
What we're trying to do here is knock out one of them with this year's money so we can reduce going forward.
Okay.
But if we're gonna do 9 in a year, I plan on financing that. I don't see spiking the budget that much on that much equipment.
Who made a motion on that?
Wasn't me.
We don't have one.
We don't have one. Pleasure to board.
I know who needs to make it.
Motion to approve budget amendments 402 and 409.
I have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? Not all in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries.
Budget amendment number 403 is for our EMS net department, $1,277.50 to appropriate funds received for insurance for towing of the totaled ambulance.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion on the floor. We approve budget amendment 403. Any discussion? This was equipment that was in the truck that got wrecked?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All in favor of motion, approving budget amendment 403, show sign of right hand. Motion carries.
Budget amendment number 406, $3,000 for the library to appropriate additional LSTA grant funds received, $3,000.
Pleasure to the board.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion on the floor. We approve budget amendment 406. Any discussion?
That's a question. Yes. What's the Evergreen Conference?
Sir?
What is the Evergreen Conference? Annual conference for the library?
Yeah, I can
Yes.
answer that. The Evergreen Conference is a conference on the Cardinal system. Evergreen is the company that does it. So this is an update they do every year on that.
Okay. I'm just
And the
curious
state
what-
library, basically the state library board is giving you a grant to allow 2 of our members to attend.
And I have the grant right here if you want to look at it.
Pleasure to the board.
Well, we already got a motion.
Thank you. I don't know where I'm at.
Too much cake.
Yeah, chocolate. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor, show sign of right hand.
Budget amendment number 407 is for Department of Social Services to appropriate additional Piedmont Natural Gas Funds, $2,133.45.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion on the floor, we approve budget amendment 407. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand.
Budget amendment number 410 is for the 4-H department. It's $40,000. This is transferred between line items. It is to reallocate the 21st Century Grant funds. There is no county funds involved in.
Have a motion on the floor, we approve budget amendment 410. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, show sign of right hand. Motion carries.
Budget amendment number 14 is for our facilities department, $28,000 to adjust line items for additional funds needed for water and sewer, and they're reducing the maintenance and repairs equipment line item, $28,000.
Pleasure of the board.
Can we get some explanation on what that's?
Let's get
The-
let's get a motion, then we
All right,
discuss.
Move to
I have a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
What it is the infiltration and inflow that we had earlier in the year has basically caused us to go over budget. So what he's doing now is we're trying to, rather than do a budget amendment and take it from fund balance, we're trying to take it from line items they have.
So this was actually the cost to treat that was paid to the city?
This is in the facilities department and not the sewer fund. It's the
Oh,
line
I'm
item.
sorry.
It's the line item that we pay water and sewer for all our county buildings here. And we had a budget of $107,800, and year-to-date, we have $103,511.93. So we are under budget.
This
We
is,
missed the boat on that one big time then.
what we did is, and I'll take the fault on that, I cut them back a lot. Because in the current budget,
You looked good then, but you don't
no,
now.
I don't look good now. But I did, I cut this one back too much. So it's legitimate. If you look at the prior year, because I asked the same question on this one. I got this one confused with the treatment. But no, when we discussed this, we went back and looked at the previous year. And it should have been somewhere around, what, 130, somewhere like that.
So this should get us out the rest of the year, you think?
Well, that's the estimation
Close.
at this point. It
Close.
depends on,
Yeah.
how they come in.
I mean, you're not going to hit us with
Right.
this every month from now to the end of the fiscal year.
No, sir. This is, hopefully it's gonna take us through June
Have a good
30th.
flush of the commodes.
Yeah, that's right.
But we didn't over budget.
Do you have something, Mr. Gurley? No. I thought you were going to say something.
But this one's my fault. It's not his fault.
Well, I'm covered, I made a motion to approve it.
Okay, well, I have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion? If none, all in favor, show sign of right hand.
Well, that was the last one.
Thank you, Ms. Pam.
Thank you.
Okay, county managers' comments.
In the interest of keeping this short, I'm just gonna go over a few things. One, of course, we're continuing to work on the budget. We've met with most of the departments at this point and most of the outside agencies. We've got a few more to go. We're also meeting this week on the Agricultural Center. We're going to meet with the architect and with the city's engineering people on the retention pond at Wayne Community College.
When you gonna meet?
I believe it's Thursday. I'll get with you right after the meeting.
If you will send me a message, because I'll be in Franklin, North Carolina.
Okay, all right, I'll do that. But this is looking at sharing the retention pond and where we can put it. I think we had talked with y'all previously about looking at the possibility of moving the retention pond off of the 12 acres that we have, or even additional property for the college, because all of that's prime developable property. What we want to look at is moving it further down across the road, going into the college further south, and looking at using some of that swampy area down there that the college owns, and to see if we can put a retention pond there. But, so we've got the engineering folks from the city, and then with the college, and then we'll be bringing the architect in as well. Okay. The other thing I had sent y'all in your packet as FYI, unfortunately, we've had a resignation of one of our best department heads, Erin McAuliffe, at Services on Aging. I think she explained in her letter, she has an elderly father that they're moving to Florida to take care of. I talked with her at length about it, and their decision has been made, and they're prepared to do that. So I wanted to let y'all know that. We're beginning the process of advertising that position. But Erin's done a fantastic job for us, and she's going to be very hard to replace. The next thing, just wanted to give you an update on the radio system, and for that, I'm going to turn it over to Tommy. You want to go ahead and give them
I promise I'll put the brief in briefing. Our last implementation meeting was held on April the 7th. We met with the majority of the fire chiefs in the county. We did have some law enforcement folks there as well. But the month of April has been very busy because we're actually doing our rollout on the system. EMS and WayneNet, they were moved over to the new system on April the 7th. All those radios were reprogrammed at the time, and basically that reprogramming consists of them bringing the radio in. We reprogram the radio now, so when they turn the radio on, they're automatically on the new system. If the radios are switched over and not reprogrammed, they have to manually advance the radio to the new system. So that's what, as we cut them over, we're reprogramming all of them, so when they power up, they're on the new system. Goldsboro Fire Department was moved over on Wednesday, April the 15th, and all of those were reprogrammed appropriately. The volunteer fire departments were all cut over on April the 16th. And so we spent the 16th and the 17th and part of this week finishing up the reprogramming on the volunteer departments. The sheriff's office and local law enforcement will start this week, with the exception of Goldsboro PD. Goldsboro PD will be cut over on next Tuesday, and then we'll be in the process of reprogramming those. And then the final piece will be OES, animal control, and solid waste. They'll be the last piece that's cut over. We've had no problems. We've been very pleased with the responsiveness of RCC. They've been a great partner in this. We've had a good line of communication with them and down to the other agencies. And the feedback we've received so far from the users, the end users, has been very positive, particularly with the portable radios in areas where they couldn't previously communicate. They're having excellent results on that. So we're pleased with how that's going. And what we'd like to do is have a final report for you at the next commissioners meeting once we have everything rolled out. And then our next step, we'll probably get together with all of the agencies after the fact and do a post-mortem report on everything to see how the process went, and critique ourselves to see what we could have done better, what we did, what we excelled at during the process. So I'm pleased to report everything's going well, and we've had good partners and good communication throughout.
Thank you, Tommy, for your report. And I just would like to add to it that as all of y'all know, I've had a radio for a right good while, and mine was one of the first ones that was changed over. And it's amazing the difference in the coverage of what we've got now and what we had. It's all the chiefs that I've talked to, and I've talked to 3 or 4. I mean, they're amazed at the difference in the reception and transmission of these radios. But thank you for the report, Judge.
I asked him to come back. This has been a almost 3-year journey. We need almost a dance up there rather than, I mean, it is. Our volunteers, our firefighters, our law enforcement have struggled with the old system. And from what I'm hearing, it is phenomenal in regards to the difference in this system. So I'm hoping that once you get everybody turned over, that we can have a celebration in regards to this actually taking place, because it is a remarkable thing. I mean, from my understanding, on their portables, excited final
Well,
report.
We just want to make sure we got all the
Get it
keys.
all switched over before we
Yeah.
hoorah. But right now, I mean, it's amazing to me, the difference.
And we're pretty well on schedule. The events last week delayed us a day or two, but we just about made that up by working this Friday.
Everywhere let me know that you delayed it today.
Well, I mean, what was going on at the college, we didn't have no choice. I mean, that was,
I agree.
that
One
had
thing
to be that.
but one thing we should point out at the college is, we made the decision, Mel made the decision to go ahead and switch over and get Viper on.
And the patch
And-
worked perfect.
And it worked perfectly. So we were able to get the Highway Patrol, SBI, everybody who came in from the state switched over, patched in, and so everybody had interoperability on the radio system. And we weren't even supposed to go live with that yet, but we knew it was ready, so we went ahead and tried it, and it worked
The
perfectly.
Viper patch worked just like it was supposed to on Monday.
Well, I'm just thrilled about the whole thing, and, I mean, it was a decision with a lot of consternation that was made a few months back in regards to going with this new company, and I'm just glad that it's all working out great. I understand there was one little quadrant that they had a problem with, but they didn't have a lot of structures in that quadrant,
Right.
and I take it that they're trying to somehow or another enhance to get there.
Yeah, and then we've got one other issue in one building, one county building that we'll be able to address also.
Okay, great, thank you. Thanks, Mr.
Quick question, I knew that was somewhere up in the northern part of the county near Eureka.
Oh, that's right, it's in your
Was there
district.
anything in the southern parts that used to have a lot of problems down there?
Not that I'm aware of. What we would like to do when we do the final presentation is show you the coverage map, and you can see the areas
Yeah,
that,
that'd be great.
There was
Yeah.
596
grids.
grids in the county, and only one, I wouldn't say failed, but only one had an issue with inside coverage. It had outside coverage, even that grid.
Outside coverage was 100.
The
I just
outside is
remember- I just remember
100%.
that map going to Seven Springs, going out to.
There was, the issue was not anywhere south. It was one right up in the northeast
Right.
corner.
The one other thing to mention is, early on, when we met with RCC, we made the decision that there may be some buildings that present an issue, and we knew the jail may be one of them. But the decision was made, and I think the correct decision was made, is let's install this system and then determine what we need to put in there, because you may over-purchase if you did it early. And the sheriff, we had a meeting with Larry, and he agreed to that, and he's worked with us on that, which we appreciate very much. And as it turns out, we're getting much better coverage in there than probably we hoped for. We may still have to do what's called a BDA, a bidirectional antenna in the jail. But, with that much concrete and steel in there, if that's it, that's a minor issue.
I don't, right now, I'm giving out too much information, but my understanding is there's one spot in the jail that's given an issue, and they're working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, they may already have it fixed, I don't know, but I know they're working on it, but only one spot.
And that's why I say it's a whole lot better, frankly, than where we thought we would be when we got through.
Even if we do have to spend a little more money at the jail, it's not gonna be nothing like we would have to have spent.
That's right.
So we made a good call on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mayor.
I just want to ask a question. Has there been any testing done yet as far as our schools? As far as,
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes, we've been in just about all the schools on inside coverage and in Wayne Memorial Hospital too. Back in like the trauma 2 area in Wayne Memorial isolated, and we tested them in there, and everything was 4.5 or better, so on coverage.
good, that was one of the big things about our students being protected is
Early on.
inside communication.
Early on, we had sent out emails asking for the agencies to send us the problem areas that they had with radios. And we've got a stack of emails probably like that. And we went through every one of those individual locations and verified them. once we got the new system up and started testing.
Yeah, when they got through testing, they thought that was it, but, Fire Marshal come in and said, no, wait a minute. He said, I got a stack of emails this thick. He said, we're gonna go check every single location.
And some of them were checked more than once
Yeah.
in different weather conditions, and they were very thorough with the way they tested the system and the coverage throughout the county.
Thank you. You got anything else, Mr. Wood?
No, sir, I think
Reports and comments. Mr. Bell.
Mr. Chairman, real quickly. Mr. Burns and I met with the juvenile justice last week. Nothing too important. We approved the budget, and other than that, the juvenile justice is doing very well, wouldn't you say, Mr. Burns? And East Point, I did not attend the meeting, but we did have a teleconferences. And I won't go into detail on that, but I'll talk to you about that later. So I don't really have an official report this week.
Okay. Mr. Gurley.
Wayne Memorial Hospital Board of Directors met last week, and they've been through recently their joint commission inspection. They received very good reviews and marks. And I failed to mention at our last meeting here that Mr. Paul, CEO and President of Wayne Memorial, has announced his retirement for the end of this year. And Mr. Parker, the committee, Board of Directors Chairman, has identified an exploratory committee to explore the different various options with Mr. Paul's retirement. And last week, the Jetport Advisory Committee met and went over a long list of short-term and long-term projects and priorities. And we'll be contacting the Facilities Committee for a meeting in the very near future. And as many of y'all did, we went to Spring Creek last week and did a tour of that. I was impressed with the floor plan and design of the school, and I'm sure the school system will be happy opening up this summer. And last, as mentioned earlier today, I'll be attending the community meeting to discuss the Duke Energy's Wayne County Coal Ash. It's at 6:30 tonight at Tehillah Church there on Beach Street. If anybody'd like to go with me, you're certainly welcome to. And that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Pate.
Thank you. Of course, we were all at Spring Creek, and we're real proud of, what's going on with those schools and Grantham as well. But particularly Spring Creek, since it happens to be my district, and I'm glad to see that's really going well down there. We had the Work Ready event here in this room the other day, and I thought that went real well, and you could see the partnership across the county and how important that is. And after that, I attended the First Baptist Church with Commissioner Mayo for the prayer service, and there were a lot of people there, and it was really nice service. And let's see, we went to Jacksonville. Was that last week? I believe it was. And for the I forgot about it too. We had our district meeting for the Association of County Commissioners, and what you could tell from those meetings that even though our problems are a little bit different in each county, by and large they're all the same. We face the same issues. And I'll be leaving tomorrow morning to go to Macon County, which is Franklin, North Carolina. I asked Ronnie Bill the other day, I said, is that in Tennessee? It just about is. It's about a 7.5 hour drive up there. So we'll be meeting Thursday and Friday to work on the strategic plan. And I'm fulfilling the Steve King's rest of his term, so I guess in October they'll kick me out of office.
Probably in August.
August, sooner the better. I'm just kidding. But, the counties have 2 years term, and there's 9 counties, so we only get it every 18 years, so it'll be somebody else's term. And today, we went over to the pregnancy center and had lunch, and I just want to publicly commend those ladies. I left there just uplifted. I mean, those people are just positive energy, I'm telling you.
We'll tell that the next meeting.
Why? It's fresh on my mind. I won't remember it next time. But, we went over, and that was just and I'm just, I want to commend them again, too, and I think you will probably say something about that, how as a nonprofit, they're standing on their own and doing a great job. It's just something to see. Thank you.
Mr. Mayo.
Yeah, there's quite a few that's already been mentioned. I'll just mention a couple. We also had an opportunity to go to the Tuscarora Council of Boy Scouts of America Friends of Scouting Luncheon at Walnut Creek. Governor Pat McCrory was a keynote speaker. The Tuscarora Council, due to general support, assists in offering a quality scouting program to more than 4,200 young people annually. Also attended the Board of Health meeting. We're going to have a night meeting on June 30th at the Wayne County Public Library at 6 p.m. We will be presenting an update of the Health Education Teen Public Health Perspective Contest. Also, at our last Board of Health meeting, Ken Stern shared a PowerPoint budget training session with the board. And of course, I already mentioned we've toured the Spring Creek School. We had also attended the Wayne County Extension and Community Association Achievement Day Luncheon. The mission of the Extension and Community Association is to strengthen families through 1, leadership development, 2, volunteer work, 3, educational support, 4, research-based education from NC State University and NC A&T University. The total volunteer hours for 2014 for this association was 9,378. Then there were a total of, in 2014, people reached of 162,475. Look, the cooperative extension was going on when I was a kid growing up on the farm. That's how long it's been around. I also attended the Jetport Advisory Committee, as Commissioner Gurley has said. The NC Work Certified Work Ready announcement we had here, of course, was dear to all of us' heart. This, of course, is a major step forward to close the skills gap and provide well-trained employees to existing and new businesses in Wayne County. I wanted to take just a minute to talk about the prayer time that we attended over at First Baptist Church, which is right behind us. We met that day to pray for the shooting victim, Ron Lane's family, as well as the alleged killer's family. The ministers that were in attendance represented there was First Baptist, First African Baptist, Best Grove Missionary Baptist, and St. Paul United Methodist Church. The overall message was a community needs to come together and pray to God for strength to heal our community. And having said that, prayer, God's still in the miracle business, is what I'm saying. Prayer changes a lot of things in this world. 1 John 3:22, verse 22 says, and whosoever we ask, and whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, capital H, which is God, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. God will listen to us, and he will honor our prayers if we are keeping his commandments, as it says, and doing those things that are pleasing in his sight. That is the only solution that we have to the problems in our society, is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Mayo, thank you for those spiritual words we all need. Before I go about what I had written, I want to say that the luncheon that we had today at the center, I was already alluded to, in addition to providing us with a very nutritious meal, and down towards the end with the desserts, which is some of the richest that I've had lately. When I asked for some water in the end to go with the dessert, you know it's been sweet. So that was a real good, and I would like to, just because it's a spiritual-based activity going on at the Pregnancy Prevention Center, I think that's what it's called. Those ladies are doing an excellent job, and they gave us a very warm prayer as we left. So, while prayer is taken out of a lot of places, view at Spring Creek, I was amazed at how much work has been done down there. It takes one individual movement to lay a, well, I say one individual movement, to lay a brick or a block. You can't lay one with the computer, so it takes human activity to do that. And I just would love to remind folk, and the reason I say that is, just like prayer is still appropriate, skilled labor is still appropriate. I just need to get that in, because sometimes our young people do not appreciate the fact that skilled labor will carry the day way beyond a lot of other things that they do. I went to my regular wages and library meeting last week, the 16th and 17th. Activity was pretty much normal at each one. The library was real pleased at the activity going on at their respective sites, plenty of activity. Participation is growing, and that speaks for itself. The Extension Service Awards program, enjoyed that meal with the folk down there. Enjoyed going to the Tuscarora Boy Scouts function, and as I was riding up, I reflected on the fact that I had not had a chance to be that close to the governor, and I started to go up and say something to him about Medicaid expansion, but I didn't want to give Joe, my good friend Joe, a heart attack, because I'd had to tell him what a good friend Joe Daugherty and I so I decided not to do that. But Joe, I just wanted to warn you, I was close, so just John did talk. I was riding with John, and John promised me that if I did that, I would have to catch another way back home. So I didn't say anything. One other thing I would love to acknowledge, the Sheriff Department and their trash pickup crew. About a month ago, I got a telephone call from a gentleman. No, I got an email. Maybe it's been 2 months. But I do look on my email sometime, Marcia. She laughed. They have to call me sometime, tell me to look on. I got an email from a gentleman that asked me if I'd been down the Old Mount Olive Highway lately. I said, yeah. He said, Mr. Brown, have you ever seen such trash alongside the road? I said, no, I agree with you. And it just so happened I detoured for some reason down there that day or two before that. But I came back up through there the next morning, and just to take another look, I called, I don't mind saying, I called Ray Brogdon. I got his phone number in my book, so I called him. I said, Ray, I said, how about asking the sheriff if he can put somebody over, put that crew over on, and I know the sheriff designee, over on Old Mount Olive Highway to do the trash. Well, I'd gone back through there several times, and they were busy somewhere. And just the happenstance one day, I cut back through there, and there they were out there getting up the trash. I just want to give a shout out to, they can't be everywhere all at once, but sometimes, like they say, just be patient. It'll be there on time. So that was one of those on-time moments. And I'm leading towards something. I got a call about a month and a half ago from two women, two ladies, they live off the Old Mount Olive Highway, and they were concerned about some, and we've talked about this before, but I want to publicly say it so that if they're watching this, they'll know we haven't put it on the back burner, about the dilapidated houses, the bad-looking property, just the awful way some of our streets are looking. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, there's some things that's down in my district that's pretty rough. And so I say to us as a board, we need to put that back on our front burner and get something done. Because this Department of Transportation, and I know we can't tell them what to do, but I promised a member of my church, and if she's white, I won't call her name, but she lives in Dudley, and this has to do with Lincoln Drive in Dudley. Sometimes in the past, there was some flooding down there, and I tell you what I know about it. There was some flooding down there, and the Department of Transportation came in and did some road work, driveway work. And it seemed like in some ways it's made it worse. and some soil eroding in driveways and so forth. And I just say out loud to the public and to the Department of Transportation, not just this street, but we need some attention over this way. And I know there's a variety of subdivisions with potholes, and I hear all kind of reasons why it can't be done. But that's another thing. The public's getting worn out and tired and disgusted about these potholes, and they'll call me, and I'll try to find an answer, and they'll call, I know our manager, and he'll try to find one. We as a board and the Department of Transportation and anybody who's got a dog in this fight need to get together and do something for these folk who are having problems with erosion to driveways, ditches, potholes in the street. We just got to do something, and it's way time for me and everybody else who can do something about it or say something about it to say it, and let's try to get something done about it. Thank y'all.
Mr. Chairman, can I interrupt and comment on a couple of things?
Go ahead.
We just had this conversation just a minute ago because I got a referral from somebody over here on the potholes, and I'm in total agreement. And dilapidated homes and mobile homes, we've got to move forward on that. But the real thing, when I saw he had the sheriff and the trash and stuff, and I know you're surprised, I was watching Bill O'Reilly last night, and he gave a shout out to a sheriff somewhere in the country that was doing this, and he said, by the way, if your county's doing that, if you will email us, and we'll give you a shout out. So I think that the sheriff ought to let them know that we're doing that in Wayne County. We need to be recognized. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Doherty.
My fellow commissioner,
Everybody covered everything you were going to say.
I hear you. My fellow commissioner, there are three words to resolve one of those issues, and that is minimum housing code. We need that in our county. But on the issue of the highways, it has been near and dear to me all along in regards to the streets that are being placed into operation in our subdivisions are not being taken over by the state. And I'm pleased to announce that a bill has been introduced by my favorite senator, Senator Pate, who is absolutely, if I could have written the bill, I'd have written it just like he did. And that is that when these streets are built and they're put and accepted to be constructed to state standards, they're going to be taken over by the state at that point. And if they do that, it will resolve it going forward. Then we'll have to clean up going backwards. But I hope that they pass that bill. The WCDA met and they are discussing their goals for the upcoming year as well as for the next 5 years. And I'd have to say that I think you all have gotten some information on some of the accomplishments that our WCDA has occurred over the last 5 years. I mean, really, you need to look through some of that. They've done a real good job in a downturning economy. Several of the commissioners went and met at Impulse in Mount Olive for Stand Up for Transportation. And leading right into that, I want to share with you all, which you all may be aware, that on April the 16th, Senator Tillis and Representative Butterfield in the House introduced the, let me get this straight now, let me get the name of the bill, the Military Corridor Transportation Improvement Act of 2015. And that act would designate the following as high priority corridors: US 117 Interstate 795 from Route 70 in Goldsboro to Interstate 40 in Faison, and US 70 from its intersection at Interstate Route 40 in Gardner to the Port of Morehead City, those being designated as future interstates. So I know that many on this board have worked to get that designation. The bill has been introduced. We can only hope that we would encourage all of our congressmen and senators to support that. It's a bipartisan bill, and hopefully it'll get passed and we can get a shield up. So I look forward to that. And I want to thank them for that activity, because many have worked for that. I do want to commend all of the efforts of prior commissioners, the chamber, the school system, WCDA, the community college, and all of the other partners for the milestone that was announced last Thursday, designating Wayne County as the first county as certified work ready. That is impressive, that this county is the first in the entire county of North Carolina, indicating that we have the certified workforce. This is paramount if we're going to draw in the industry and recruit industry into our county. So with that said, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna be a little longer-winded today than normal. I also attended the, down at Impulse at Mount Olive. Had heard about Impulse and been by that building ever since it had been there. Did not have a clue what they were doing inside, but it was very, very interesting in what they're doing. Also, that night, I attended the NCACC meeting in Jacksonville, very, very informative. Also attended the Boy Scout function out at Walnut Creek when the governor was in town. On April 13th, I gave the closing remarks at the Child Abuse Prevention Month ceremony on downtown City Hall. Also went on the tour for Spring Creek School, and like the others have said, it was amazing how much work they've done in a short length of time. On the 14th, I also attended the Extension Community Lunch at the Wayne Center. A very good lunch. Had to leave early to be out on base at 1 o'clock. The Volunteer Appreciation Day ice cream social with Colonel Slocum on base, and that was a very good meeting. Also that afternoon, we, Mr. Wood and myself, met with Dr. McCullen, Chris West, and David Laster on some school issues on the sewer problems. On the 16th, has already been mentioned, the Wayne County Certified Work Ready presentation, and as some of the other commissioners already said, that's something that Wayne County really needs to be proud of, because that's a big honor to be first in the state to achieve that that workforce ready certificate. Saturday, I went out to the change of command for the 916th Air Refueling Wing out on base. Colonel Gilmore gave it to Colonel Schinkenberg, and it was that was very informative, and had something to happen while the ceremony was going on. There was a two-star general there conducting the change of command, and right in the middle of his speech, about probably, I'm gonna say at least between the fourth and the third of the airmen just jumped up and scrambled. They had a call that they had to get a tanker in the air pretty quick, and they didn't hesitate to interrupt the general's speech. And he made the comment after that things kind of settled down that in his Air Force career, that was the first time that it had ever happened to him when he was conducting something. He said, but that's what it's all about. He said they didn't hesitate. And it was, I'm going to say, probably from the time they left their seats, in about 5 minutes, you could hear the plane leaving. And it was amazing how quick they got that big bird in the air. But that was a good ceremony. Also coming up, it's dear to my heart, we've got the Cures for the Colors coming up the last of this week. And then we got Relay for Life, and I would ask my fellow commissioners to support these two very worthy causes. I'm kind of partial to both of them, but I guess I would have a tendency to lean more for Cures for the Colors. But that's that event is Dr. Atkins and his group has put together, and the funds that they raise for that stays right here in Eastern North Carolina. Y'all know, I'm a survivor, but I've been very blessed that I've been able to provide for myself. There's so many people out there that's got cancer that cannot. They don't have gas money to get to a doctor treatment, or either they spend their money on gas and don't have money for food. And all the money that they raise is distributed east of 95 They go beyond 95 just a little bit if the county that they got offices in touches another county. But that's very, very close to me, and they do an outstanding job. And so keep that organization in your mind. Also, in riding over the county, it's springtime, DOT does as good as they can to keep the grass and all mowed. But I've noticed riding around this weekend, the number of houses that the people keep the grass mowed on the sides of the road. Most of them on both, in the side that joins their house and across the road. But there's a lot of miles of road frontage in Wayne County that the residents is keeping mowed. And I just want to commend those people and thank them for it. I mean, most people do, and I mean, it was brought to my attention by someone else. I mean, I didn't come up with this on my own, but I got to notice it after someone brought it to my attention, and it was amazing how much is maintained by the average citizen. Also, we have a tendency to criticize the DOT a little bit for being slack, but right now, out at the Goldsboro DOT yard, they're somewhere around 15 to 18 employees short right now. So they're probably doing as good as they can right now for the resources that they've got. And last, tonight, the Wayne County Firefighters Association is having their monthly meeting, and it will be at the base, the fire station on base. And I want to thank the Firemen Association. We have a monthly meeting, and it goes in alphabetical order. Well, when it comes up to the base in the past sometimes has had a tendency to just skip because they usually provide a meal, and the base does not have the funds in their budget to provide a meal. But I just want to thank the Firefighters Association for hosting the association meeting tonight, and they're going to foot the bill for the meal at the base tonight. And but that's just a small token that the Fire Association is doing for the base. We work real close with Seymour Johnson, and I just appreciate what they do. And that's all I've got. Anyone else have anything? Oh, this weekend, the Pickle Festival. I have to eat that brand now. I worked for the other brand for years, but I have to. They're kind of, Mount Olive is kind of like John Deere. They're the only one that survived. But it is this weekend. Anyone else have anything?
Do we have a close?
Oh, I do have one more thing. We had on the schedule for this morning for Ms. Goldsboro to speak, Ms. Victoria Basket, and she called in. She was sick. She is having a program Thursday night from 5:30 to 7:30 at Wayne Memorial Hospital. And like I said earlier in the day, I had a chance to sit down with that young lady for about an hour and talk. And if any of you can break loose, I've got another engagement I've got to go to that night. The survivor banquet for Relay for Life is that night also. I'm going to try to catch both of them a little bit. But if any of you have a chance to go out and listen to her, you'll come away with a different feeling, because she's got a remarkable story to tell. I mean, she had a life-threatening incident when she was 19 years old, and she's an amazing young lady. So if any of you have to get the chance, please go out and listen to her on April 23rd at 5:30 to 7:30 at the main dining room at the hospital. Anyone else have anything?
I just have a personal note I would like to announce. My grandson, all y'all know, he's a musician. He starts his tour next month. It will end up in November. California, Alabama, Colorado, New York, Washington, and several other states. So he's going to be gone for the rest of the year, look like.
Mr. Attorney, do we have a closed session?
We have a closed session.
Okay.
Yes, to consult with me, attorney-client privilege, and to discuss matters relating to locational expansion of business.
We will go into closed session, be out shortly.
Who made that motion?
I did. Mr. Fate did.